Inspire with Nendrix, the foundation.
Hey, Embracing Arms community, this is Dr. Danielle Harrison with Your Best Life, coming back to you with a 5-minute quickie. So I was on a phone call with one of my besties from Texas, and just kind of talking about things that we always talk about. And he was sharing with me that he ran into a friend of ours who had returned back to the state just to visit and had previously relocated to another state. And she was sharing with him that she wasn't really grooving with the state that she was in, and that, she wasn't really connecting, and she was really interested in coming back home to her hometown. And I said, yeah, I can understand how that feels when you've lived somewhere all your life and then you move and you're just trying to get your roots again. You're trying to make some connections. That can be really, really challenging. And so I relocated twice. I lived in a state for about 38 years, relocated to another state where I knew no one, no family, no nothing, moved there with, 2 little children, and couldn't, was trying to figure out, like, how do I root myself? Like, how do I find some connections? And I was, signing up for all kinds of things, signed up for NAACP, signed up for the Urban League, connected with national organizations that I had memberships with, to try to figure out, what was going on in that state, related to my organization. Just try to do all kinds of things. One of the other strategies that I did was when I started my doctoral program, I started hosting these social events at the end of every semester with our cohort, just to kind of get to know them better, just to kind of connect to their network. I encouraged them to invite their friends and things like that. And so that was another way for me to try to connect. So I knew that when I had an opportunity to relocate again, that I would kind of identify some best practices that I use to connect with people in that state, the new state. And so here's some of the things that I'll recommend you do, and some of the things that I did when I relocated again to yet a smaller state, by myself, no family, and this time didn't even have my children with me. The first thing I did was, as I mentioned before, if you are a member of any national organizations, professional organizations, try to find a chapter locally. Connect with them immediately. Find out when their first meeting is. Show up to those meetings. Especially if it is a organization, if you're interested in finding a community of people that look like you. So if you're Latino, Latina, if you are, Asian American, if you are African American, whatever that is for you, and you're trying to find that community, then you may be able to connect to that community by connecting to these, social organizations or organizations that you're a part of. So that was the first thing that I did. I found, the national organizations that I was a part of, connected to their meetings, and then found out about all kinds of events that was going on in the community that way. Some of those national organizations could be like the Urban League, the NAACP. I'm a part of a sorority. And so, connecting with them, showing up to their events, going to their fundraisers. The other thing that I did was, as part of the job that I transferred to, we have colleagues there that have been there all their lives. And so they would invite me to different things. And so I came out of my shell a little bit, and attended some things that I would have never attended in normal circumstances. But because this was a new state, new culture, new people, new way of life, I wanted to expose myself to that. So I did accept several invitations to attend, events, local events, popular events that I would have never heard of had I not, heard it from them. And so that was another way for me to build my my network and my connection. The other thing that I did was I used social media. I used Facebook to connect to different state-based organizations. I would just type in Wisconsin, type in, Pennsylvania, or type in Texas, or type in wherever you are, whatever state that you just moved into, type it in the search bar in your social media platform, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and see what organizations or what groups have been formed or pages have been formed for certain groups that might be aligned with something that you're interested in, and just ask to join the group. And within those groups, you'll start seeing posts, of different things that's going on. And then the final thing that I did was I looked at Eventbrite. Eventbrite always have public facing information about events going on in your area. And so you can find out, things that are going on in your area through Eventbrite, and just show up to those things. So those are just a couple of things that I would suggest that you do if you're relocating to a new state and you're just trying to find your community. You're trying to get some roots. You're trying to network. If you are an introvert, these things is a little harder, right, to do. I'm a perfect split between an introvert and an extrovert, right? My extrovert side of me click in when it needs to, and my introvert side click in when it needs to. And so there's some benefits to having both of those. But if you are an introvert, that might be a little more difficult for you to just show up to events. So it'll be easier for you to find events like through Eventbrite or through the social media platform, so that you can identify those specific groups that is aligned with who you are as a person. If you want to be a part of a knitting club, a chess club, or whatever, you will find that, through those platforms. There's another platform that I used before, and I forgot what it was called, but it was Meetup. I think it was meetup.com. And that's another opportunity to find like-minded people and connect with them. So that's just my 5-minute quickie to kind of get you out of that rut. If you've already relocated and you're just trying to figure out how to connect to people, those are some ideas. Share below some comments on how you've connected with people when you move to a new and unfamiliar state. Go out in the community and embrace someone. They're waiting on you. While you're out there, please mask up, stay safe. If you don't care about your own health and safety, care about someone else. Continue to live your absolute best life.
My La Casa boy, this is my residence. My prescription boy, this is my medicine. The world can be sickening and living in house resemblance. Not to mention the media's effort to keep us in the most simplistic state of mind. Lowest age bracket committing the highest rate of crime.